Hermanico Reeves, and I haven't changed my background yet. Welcome to Millionaire Mindset Mondays. Um, and as you know, I'm on a mission to make real estate investing fun, easy, and profitable. And every week we're here at 6 p.m. and we've got interesting guests to bring value to you. So tonight we're kind of doing a little bit of a mix. We're doing a little bit of the mindset, and we're also going to be talking about partnerships with Rod, because that's what we're transitioning to. So welcome, Rod. Thank you for
Thanks.
joining us tonight. And do you want to tell us a little bit about your background to get started?
My background, well, let's see. I guess more importantly, in real estate, my background is I started in 2013, I think, with some investing. It was 2013. I joined a real estate group and learned about some of the different strategies of getting into real estate investing. Um, so the first thing I did was a rent to own, actually. I did that up north of Cornwall, out in the boonies near Alexandria, Ontario, and that was um, that was a very steep learning experience. You know, and I even it was even a learning experience for my realtor at the time and my mortgage broker and my lawyer. I think they knew what it was. I don't think any of them had ever really done one. So um, I managed to find a house and managed to find, or rather, I found a couple who had found a house, and I vetted the house, the property, and them, and what my mortgage broker helped me out with it, and we got it done, and that worked out pretty well. I think I owned it for 30 months was the agreement, and they bought it from me for an agreed upon price and did pretty well actually. So that was kind of fun and easy. I mean, it just hummed away and suddenly cashed out. So that was easy. And then after that, um, I bought my first rental property. That was in Brockville, a single family. Uh, and again, that was using some creative financing, used a vendor take back and a hard money loan to buy the property, and then I used my line of credit to do some renovations on it. I did I did much of the work by myself. I did have a couple other people I hired to do some of the more heavy lifting and to just to move things along. But still, despite that extra cost, I managed to refinance in about 3 months, I think, um, and got enough money to pay most of that off, but also to buy my buy a duplex, put a down payment on a duplex with that. And so I essentially bought two houses with other people's money instead of just paying cash out of pocket for it, you know. And then yeah, and I still had some equity having yeah with the next house I had some equity there too with a bit of improvements and refinancing. And then I my mortgage broker happened to come across another property that I was able to get a great price on. So within 12 months, I'd bought three houses, and having never really bought anything other than the rent to own, having not really done any real estate investing before that. And that was pretty exciting. And I
That is
still got
very
those and they're
exciting.
humming along, and I'm still optimizing those and refinancing and improving them and planning what I could do with them next, what kind of improvements I could do, maybe adding one of the single families, maybe into converting it into a duplex or even a triplex. We'll see, or maybe tearing it down and building something entirely new might be the best way to go. I'm not sure. Um, I've always had a lot of satisfaction out of providing a good home to people. That kind of surprised me. It took me a bit by surprise. It's not just about making money. It's the people are actually really happy when they and excited to get into my places because I do know another landlord who doesn't care. He is just there for the money and has kind of a crappy product. But I don't know. I just can't live with myself doing it that way. I don't want to deal with the emails and phone calls waiting for asking for repairs and things. When I get that sort of stuff, I just go for it and get it done. And everybody's happy and it hums along.
It's
After
sure
that, I
nice.
did a bunch of flips. I did about 8 flips or over COVID. Um, and now I'm looking to get into the next big thing.
So how are partnerships working into all of that so far? Just private money lenders? Are they equity partners in any of these, or just straight up cash that you're returning on refis or
Yeah, no, yeah, those were just cash. So the vendor take back, of course, was the seller, and then I had a hard money loan to make up the difference for the purchase price, and then just my line of credit for the renovations in that case. And in the case of the flips, I had my business partner that helped me out with that. Well, we both chipped in money and chipped in a lot of effort, ultimately trying to evolve to the point where we're hiring out and contracting as much as we could.
right,
Um, I think everybody agrees during COVID, that was quite a challenge because a lot of people were really taking advantage of the rush on real estate, and there were a lot of disreputable people around too. So that was quite a challenge, and we ran into that a little bit too. We still managed to make some money. We didn't. I don't think we really lost any, fortunately, but in the grand scheme, we made some money on it. There was a lot of challenges to it, though. A couple of the flips that I did with a money partner. They just came in with all the money, and I was the active partner and managed that and brought contractors in. Those didn't go all that well, I have to admit, because I didn't get the right contractors, and it was at a bit of a distance to me, and well, also, I was a little bit new to that degree of being the active partner. So I certainly made mistakes, and I made mistakes with the contractors that came in, but we got all the money back and made a little bit on it. Yeah, it was perhaps a little more stressful than it needed to be, but that was definitely not the learning curve is not something I regret, because it's something I've learned to avoid a lot of things. I'm not going to make those mistakes again. I want to keep my investors happy, and I know how better to do that now, having made some mistakes in that area as well. So it's all about communication and all about staying on top of all the details and just being there at the right time and getting it done.
yeah, and experience, right?
Yep, yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's how you know how to be where you need to be and what you have to say to people. It's all
yeah,
managing people, managing people.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, mistakes, they're not good, but as long as you learn from
No.
them,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, what's coming up next?
Uh, my original business partner and I are looking to get into larger scale multifamily properties. Um, I did go out west this summer. I went out to Edmonton and looked at a few buildings with Mark Loeffler, realtor. He's based in Ontario, but he has strong connections out in Alberta. And we looked at a few buildings, and I put some offers in and stuff. What I've found, though, I mean, prices are good and rents are good, and rent control is not as quite as onerous as it is here in Ontario. So there's huge advantages. But yes, what I found was the the market is on the upswing, and owners are realizing that, sellers are realizing that, and so are asking for prices which are the price that the properties would value at once the optimization is done.
Yes,
But the optimization isn't done yet, and so it ends up. I mean, you can't get financing that way, so you kind of have to come in with a cash deal or with a big capital investor. Uh,
yeah,
so
yeah, I agree.
and I didn't get any accepted offers. I guess I didn't try hard enough just yet. We're sort of backed off trying to reestablish what our strategy would be. I guess the best way is we want to have an accepted deal, and then we go in for inspections and start working on bringing prices down that way and
Right.
negotiating properly and establishing a relationship with the seller. Hopefully, ideally, if they're willing to. They're not always willing to. I think a little more in commercial they are, but quite often people just want
Sometimes
to. Yeah,
yeah. I've put in offers on properties like that, written love letters, trying to
yeah,
explain to them the actual value of the
yeah,
property. But some people have just owned a building for, they have no mortgage on it,
yeah,
but they're not investors, right? Like
yeah.
they bought one and done and wanted to pay down the mortgage, and they have, and but they don't understand. They just think, oh, the building down the street sold for
Yeah.
3.5 million, and mine's nicer, and so mine should sell for 4.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make it very easy. So yeah, that's especially with in that case, you got to really try to establish a relationship, get in touch with the seller.
Yeah.
Well, and even forming the relationship with the realtor, with their realtor, so that they understand what we're trying to do. I mean, well, a proper commercial realtor is going to understand the value of the property, and I'm sure that realtor will have the conversation with the seller.
Right,
Uh,
but they're not always a commercial realtor that's listing
no,
the building,
that's
right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you got to form these relationships and uh, try to get in and talk to people, and yeah, just maintain your cool and come in with your numbers ready and just help people understand better why their property's been sitting so long, for example, or what they can really expect. And but often, yeah, people just end up liking you, and that can make quite a difference in getting the deal done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they don't always understand. And I mean,
No,
I've run into that several times now. You know, great solid building, but the rents are, like 650,
yeah,
825's the high for, a two bedroom. Like,
yeah,
yeah, so they don't realize, but they want market.
yeah, they want market value based on even though they have really low rents in there,
Yeah.
and that's just the you're just not going to get financing based on that, the asset value based on their existing rents.
Yeah. And if the agents don't understand vendor takebacks, I mean, that's a great
Hmm.
tool.
Hmm.
But if the seller doesn't understand it and the agents don't understand it, it's a pretty hard sell if
Hmm.
it's through like MLS or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, and if it's not a sophisticated investor, yeah, they don't want to take on that apparent risk of a vendor take back with,
Yeah.
that's
Of
what
taking
banks do.
back their
Banks
own
do
building and
mortgages. I don't do mortgages.
and keeping their down
Doesn't make
payment
sense.
and deferring the capital gains. Mm,
Hmm.
that's a
Hmm.
big risk,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That doesn't sound legal. That's not the way it works. You use
Yeah,
accountants and
yeah,
mortgage brokers for all that, not just
yeah,
normal people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting that
Hmm.
keep knocking on doors and eventually doors will open, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just got to make the right contacts and get in there or just find someone who's sick of dealing with it and they're ready to play ball.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, that's another strategy. Yeah.
yeah,
It's just finding the right deal
yeah, yeah. And
or
sometimes
creating the deal, right?
creating the deal and sometimes being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
But yeah, mostly creating the deal
yeah,
seems to be the way to
absolutely.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your struggle to network and how you overcame that.
Oh, well, I'm not sure if I have overcome it. That's
Oh,
that's a bit
okay.
optimistic. Yeah, well, and as I've been saying, you got to create these relationships with realtors and with sellers and well, with anybody within the network that you have to work, any of the professionals. Me doing it with you, being here talking. Uh, I mean, in the real world, I'm a teacher. I'm used to talking in front of people anyway, so that's not hard. And while I've done community theater, I can act in front of people and be silly. That's not hard. But I guess just being in the somewhat unpredictable realm of having one-on-one conversations, uh, that can be that I yeah, I mean I've been spending my life analyzing why that can be a struggle for me sometimes. Uh, the idea of a social battery is starting to make more and more sense to me. Whereas, well, someone like you, Jan, who has the a social battery that could power a small city, I think, and mine is about three AAA batteries sometimes. You leave the light on too low for a few minutes too long, and the light goes out pretty quick. So I
Whereas I get
mean, with
energy out
batteries.
of talking to people, right? Like it just revs me up even.
That
It
doesn't really
recharges my
energize
battery.
me, and unless it's the right conversation, and I'm not sure what that right conversation is, or I have to be in the right mood, or I have to have had a good lunch so I have good energy to follow up on it or to really get into it. Yeah, that can be the issue. I mean, I guess I'm pretty good at faking it too if I have to. I'm good at small talk. I always say I'm not really, but my kids who end up waiting for me at the grocery store when I meet someone on in the aisle will tell me that I definitely do have good small talk skills. But yeah, that just happens to be a situation where I find someone that I can have the conversation with. However, real estate has so many facets to it that you can have any kind of relationship, or rather any kind of conversation there, and it is easy to get lost in a conversation there. So in the last many months where I've really been focusing on networking, I've been finding it to be I surprised myself with how easy it's been actually. And I've gone to some major conferences, Wealth Genius conferences, and the big multifamily conference in Toronto in May. I think that was the end of the May, in May, wasn't it? That was one of the biggest I've been to, and I was determined to well to go there and network. Uh, but what I guess what I found out pretty quickly is everybody else is there to do that too. So when we all got up from our seats and we went out for a break, I found that people were approaching me to start conversations and offering their hand and just saying and asking, so what do you do? You know, and it was easy as that. Just start talking about yourself, ask them to talk about themselves, find some commonalities, and all of a sudden I'm networking. So it doesn't have to be that hard. Networking is not going out and selling. It's not saying, "Hey,
No.
man, I got this deal," or I'm working on these deals. Do you want to give me money?" Nobody wants to have that conversation, really. They want to trust you first. They want to know what you want to do. So the advantage there too is um, you can to some degree you can pick and choose who you're talking to. You're going to find eventually that person you really connect with and that you have stuff in common with, and that just makes it that much easier when you can connect on hobbies or family or dogs and cats. You know, you all have those things, then you can have intense conversations about things completely unrelated to what kind of investing you're trying to do, and all of a sudden you've established some trust and now you want to do more stuff together, which might happen to be investments.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
networking is just really just talking to people. But
Yeah.
working into that conversation, what it is you really want, working it in there in a positive way, not so much dwelling on it though.
Yeah, no, it's just getting to know other people, right? Be to see if you would be a good fit to work
Hmm.
together.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that I guess that's what I've learned in the last many months too. Yeah, that specifically is that you need someone that's gonna you'll fit with. And that
Hmm.
person also is looking for a person to fit with. Usually, I mean, there's people out there too that are just looking to get their money onto something, and that's fine. And that makes it easy, doesn't it? If they but they still want to trust the person they're getting in, they're investing in.
Yeah.
So that might happen by word of mouth as you build up more business. But yeah, to get those initial contacts, you just got to make a connection with people. You just talk about yourself. Everybody likes talking about themselves a little bit, right? So it's not actually that hard.
Well, I think the most important thing too is asking people about themselves, right?
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, well,
so
if they ask about you, be open and talk about the stuff you have done. Talk about the stuff you messed up on. People
right.
want to know that you have messed up and that you're
And how
willing
you
to
fixed
admit
it.
that. Have
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
humility, you
What'd you
know.
learn and how'd you fix it?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that you
Hmm.
didn't give up on it and just walk away,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, never coming across as though you will never make a mistake. Never promising there's not going to be anything that things aren't going to go wrong.
There's always going to be things that go wrong. How are
Best
you
with
going to
me to
deal
go
with
wrong.
them, right?
That's not going to happen. Yeah, what they would just talk about things that will go wrong and how you're going to cope with it and how you're going to push through.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
People,
can't
that's
even
what people
imagine.
want, that security.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So, what's some advice you could give to listeners maybe who do struggle with networking? What would be your best advice to them?
Hmm. Well, just start easy. Find someone. I mean, if you're first of all, if you're at a networking meeting, people are ready to talk. Just believe the fact that you can sit down. If someone is sitting in a corner at a meeting, at a real estate conference or whatever you're into, if they're there, they and they seem shy themselves, we'll start talking about that then. Just come in quietly and say, "Hey, it's pretty tough to be at these meetings, isn't it?" And then you just start talking about that. And just find some basic commonality and don't be all brash and loud about it. If they seem like a quiet person, don't be too loud. Just come in quiet and easy and start, yeah, talking about the difficulties of networking,
Yeah,
and then
great idea.
ask them why they're here in the first place. What kind of stuff have you done? People like talking about themselves. Pretty much everybody wants to talk about themselves, no matter what their how confident or not they may seem. Everybody wants to talk about themselves. They want to talk about how their day went or what their issues have been and what struggles they're dealing with or what successes they've had. People do get everybody's excited a
Their
little bit about
pets, their grandchildren, their
it. Yeah,
children, their
yeah,
new
yeah,
car, their
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it might sometimes might get a little boring, but if you don't want to hear about a new car, but engage them anyways, right? That's where a bit of maybe there's a little bit of acting at that point, but that's just to get through to the next part in that you might be interested in. Just stay engaged and stay interested and ask questions based on what they're coming up with, and then add your own insight. Yeah, I just got a new car 6 months ago too. These things went wrong. Pretty annoying, but it's a great car. Just add your opinion to whatever they've come up with.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, at some point, though, you just got to go for it. You got to realize that if you want to do business, you're just going to have to go in and talk to somebody,
Yeah.
pretty
Now,
much.
what if you're not at a real estate investing network? What if you're, I don't know, at a banquet or a wedding or the grocery store? Or how do you overcome that?
Yeah, that's a little tougher. I met it when I'm at the grocery store. I can get pretty anxious at the grocery store because sometimes I just want to. It's after a day of work. I want to go in and get my groceries and get out. I don't want to be stopped, and I don't want to talk about myself. Uh, yeah, I just want to get in and get out. So that can be tough for me even sometimes. Uh, uh, the crutch these days does seem to be texting. Texting is always that's
Yeah.
a yeah, yeah. You cringe at that already. I know because that can be a little bit treacherous because it's a little too impersonal and it's too easy to say the wrong thing in a
Or it's
text.
taken the wrong way because there's no
Right.
fluctuation in the tone of your voice, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you got to be careful with the texting and it's not a terribly profound way of communicating. So if you're not going to text somebody that you're breaking up with them or text them that
Yeah.
you owe me $5,000 and if I don't get
Yeah,
it,
that's
I'm a
not a good
lawyer.
text. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good text. So and yeah, it's too easy to go to that crutch of a quick
Yeah.
text. You got to have a good relationship with somebody if you're going to be doing profound messages for sure. Um, But yeah, if you're at a banquet or something, well, again, just find the person that seems to match your energy. And if it is your intention to be networking, then yeah, you're going to have to take the initiative. So it's on you, on no matter what, you're going to have that intention to go and network with someone. Um, but psych yourself up to it. And if you find a target, you find someone that looks like you could talk to them and find a commonality, then um, often I just count to 10. I count to 10, and at 10, doesn't matter what happens, I'm getting up and I'm going over and I'm going to talk. And I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain makes me think I'm going to have a bad experience. What's going to happen? The person's going to lose it and swear at me and say, "What are you doing? Why I'm sitting at a banquet by myself? Why do you think I want to talk to somebody?" That's never going to happen.
No.
You
No.
know, you might pick up from them that, if you get from their vibe that they don't want to talk, then, yeah, sum up your conversation pretty quick and move on to the next one.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
can happen. People aren't going to be usually going to be rude with you though. and aren't going to make you feel stupid about it talking to them.
No, no. I
No.
mean, they'll shut you down if that's not their wheelhouse and they're
Hmm.
extremely shy or whatever. They just won't engage really. But I'm sure they'll politely answer your question and then
Yeah.
just not start the conversation, right? So,
Yeah, but never burn a bridge though. Never ever burn a bridge. It's
hmm
and that can be tough sometimes because somebody might say something that sets you off a little bit, but don't take the bait. Just just say, well, I don't know. It depends what they say. Just don't get argumentative. Don't take offense at stuff.
ever.
But
No, no,
pride always has to come second in this stuff. Pride is, you know, if they insult your brand new car, they don't like your car, big deal. Get over it. Yeah, I guess it's very special to you. Some people take it's a personal a win to buy a new car, but some people don't care. Don't take offense to it.
no,
Find something else to talk about. Or just
absolutely.
move on and say, "Hey, it was great talking to you." Then move on because you never know when you might come back. You might meet them at another banquet and they might come up to you and say, "Hey, you know what? I remember that last time I was pretty cold to you. Sorry about that." And then that they might be the icebreaker that time. You never know.
You never know. You never
Yep.
know. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? And
Yep.
what's important to them and what's not. And you can't judge them for it. It's just who they are. And,
Yep.
they might disagree with you, but I mean, whatever. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
entitled to their own opinion. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
my take. I don't think anybody's right or wrong or like if that's important to them, that's important to them. And so be it.
Yep. Not everybody's going to have the same values as you. Not everybody's going to
Yeah,
like the same things you
absolutely
want to.
not.
It doesn't make them a bad person. That
It
doesn't mean
absolutely
that
does
you
not.
should shut them down and swear at them and then walk away on a bad note
No,
because they might be the
like
friend of a friend. You know, they might be the one, yeah, he came up and talked to me. I didn't want to talk to him, but he seems okay. So that friend might come and talk to you and be interested and say, well, I happen to have $500,000 that I want to invest in property. You know,
you just never
don't
know.
burn,
You
don't
just
burn
never
any
know.
bridges. Yep.
So, tell me, what has been your very best partnership experience and why?
My best partnership experience. Hmm. Well, I guess ultimately with my main business partner, with Teresa Beneteau, because she and um, I don't know. We connected kind of instantly. At the we That was back in 2001. Yeah, I think it was
Wow.
2001 we met. Not 2001, 2010. Hold on, what year
Okay.
is this? This is 24. When did COVID start? 21 is the word I want to say. 2021. So actually not that
Okay.
one.
Okay.
2021. Yeah, just before COVID came. I think it was the summer
Okay.
before. We met and um I was actually up talking at that one, at that meeting, because the boss man would have me get up and sort of do the cold open, get everyone started, and go around and ask people their names and ask what they've been doing. And I talked about what I was doing and looking for investors to get involved with. And I mean, you'd have to ask her. We've talked about that a few times. She just sort of liked my energy and liked how I was talking and we talked later during that meeting, and we kind of hit it off right away. It was just that easy, and within a few weeks, we were transferring tens of thousands of dollars over to each other and working on our first deal. And it was just
Wow, that's
kind of that easy.
amazing.
We instantly established a level of trust, and well, it helped that we were both part of the same group too, so that gave us some credibility. And if we screwed up within the group, well, things would go quite wrong really fast. So the
Well,
level
the
of trust
whole
happened very
investing
quickly, and
community, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
exactly.
small, right? Like
Hmm.
you don't want to screw anybody over because word's going to get around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
I mean, we just determined from talking to each other we're not that kind of people. Sure, everybody wants to make money, but we don't want to do it by stepping on toes and making things worse for other people. It's just it's easy enough to make money. You don't have to make things worse for everybody else. So, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we picked up on that from each other pretty quickly.
Oh, that's very cool. And so how many deals have you done together now?
We did, I think we've done six, we did six flips together. And now we're determined to find these some multifamily properties and do that. And uh, I think we're not even quite sure what our deal is going to look like. Again, it just depends on the size of the deal and who else we need to get involved. We're certainly determined to have capital investors and equity partners involved in it. We're getting into multi-million dollar deals. Um, it may be that we'll find a smaller deal first. I'm working on one right now, which might end up be something that I finance for the most part myself, and Teresa will probably do most of the renovations on it. She and her husband, and well, any if they have to hire anybody, they'll manage that as well. And I'll do
Right.
what I can from a distance, but I'm again back in my real world job teaching, so that takes up quite a bit of my time. But I
Hmm.
do have some free time to be involved with as well. But then once we've got that going, then that just gives us more credibility. We start with some smaller multifamily, and then we can network some more and find bigger capital investors and just start growing from there.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good track record.
Hmm.
Okay, how about what's your very worst experience with with a partner?
Um, well, haven't had a bad partner. Like I said, in a couple of flips I did with my money partner, per, well, from their point of view, I would have been the bad partner because things just didn't go well. I didn't really quite manage it as well as I could have because I got the wrong contractor and um, uh, I yeah, I mean, reflecting on it, I think I really didn't communicate enough with the investor. Um, and I made some mistakes with the contractor and just didn't get on them as harshly as I should have, perhaps. So again, that's part of the learning curve is just learning to manage people and make sure proper details are on the contracts and such so you can always go back on that. That's the main big leverage is have the details hammered out before you start so that you can always go back to it. You don't have to worry about being the bad guy, about getting in a shouting match and arguing how stuff should be how stuff should be done. No, this is it in the contract. That's the way we both agreed that it should be done. And then there's really no choice but to say, yeah, you're right. It should have been done that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
then at least you have something to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, yeah, it was just learning, right? Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
weren't as experienced and
Yeah.
now you're more experienced. So
Yeah. And definitely want to avoid that situation again where I'm chasing people around and letting people down. That's just the worst feeling in the world.
absolutely.
Absolutely
Absolutely.
terrible. Hmm.
Did you iron it out in the end with
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we got all the money back and made a little bit of money, not as much as we were really intended to, but I got it ironed out. It took too long. It took a few months longer than it should have, so that made things worse. But uh, again, that was the nature of part of it. I will blame some of it on being the times during COVID, being supply issues and just
yeah, yeah.
not having the contractors available that I really needed to have and not well
Well,
maybe not waiting for them.
yeah, but that was across the board in COVID, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't, yeah. And who would have known, like having done previous flips, who would have known like how COVID was going to work and the
Yeah,
challenges you were going to
yeah,
have? Like
yeah.
I remember doing the reno on my house, moving my salon into my house, and like you couldn't go into the store. Like I
Hmm.
remember how many times I would go to the hardware store and they had like a little window opened and you'd bring
Yeah,
them, do you have something that'll, fit onto, like on
yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. Oh yeah, I haven't thought of that in a while. That was weird.
yeah,
You
right?
have to call
And
you got
yeah, I
to know the
remember them
sales
coming
staff
out
pretty
with,
well.
or not coming out, but coming back to the window with,
Yeah,
well, there's this or there's this or there's,
yeah.
it's just like it was crazy.
It was
Like,
frustrating. Yeah.
yeah. And who could have seen that coming and known how to deal with it, right? Like
Yeah, just
we
how
were
to
all
manage
just
that.
trying to figure things out.
Yep, yep. You trying to you use your time most effectively, and trying to order ahead, and where because you couldn't go in and shop, you couldn't go in and compare stuff. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
tough. Yep,
Or just look around and see what, like if you wanted flooring, like you couldn't just
yeah,
go in and browse and
yep,
say, oh, I
yep,
like that color, or, like,
yep.
yeah, if it was even available,
Well, yeah, of course, just the supply issues. Yep.
the supply issues and the cost of the
Mm-hmm.
supplies
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, t- who could have foresaw that
Yeah,
that was going to happen?
yeah, exactly. It's impossible to predict all that. Nobody knew where that was
Absolutely.
going.
Absolutely. So, yeah, what do you think? What's the next move? The multifamily?
Yeah, definitely the multifamily, but there's because I feel there's obviously there's big advantages in that in the economy of scale and the optimization possibilities. So uh, if you have several units within one building and you have some vacancies, it's not going to kill you. You can handle a couple vacancies because the other rents are still paying for the carrying costs, and that gives you time to improve those properties, to provide lifts so you can lift the value of the property and get better rents for it and provide a better home for families. There's just those benefits are there. Just having that the scale to give you more options to increase the value of the property and make everything better about it. Um, Now, a lot of the expenses are going to be larger, of course. I mean, if you're getting into heating plants and doing a roof and security systems, but again, you have more cash flow to deal with that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people think it's crazy to get into a multi-million-dollar project, but what's the difference really between that and just doing a duplex? It's bigger numbers. There's a few more zeros on the end of the number, but
But
it's
the more units,
essentially the same mechanics, the same procedures.
there's still
And I
one
think
parking lot,
generally it's
there's still
easier.
one roof. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be easier because of that economy of scale, because you
Hmm.
have you'll have a little more time based on the number of units that are rented. If you have one single family home and it's empty for 3 months to do renovations, you're spending money on
Zero
renovations and
income.
you have no income from it. Poof, that's tough. I mean, if you have my houses are in Brockville, so their values aren't like they are in Ottawa or Toronto. So if I'm empty for a month or two, it's not that big a deal. I can manage. But holy smokes, if you have a mortgage of $3,000 a month somewhere in Ottawa or Toronto or wherever, then how in the world do you carry that if you've got to do some renovations?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
But if you have a 30 unit building and you got two units that you're renovating, you got 28 other units that are paying the bills,
yeah,
right?
easy peasy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Agreed. Well, that's great. Rod, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share before we start to sign off here?
Well, just I'm just still trying to learn more and more and more as about multifamily. I mean, it is, I think, a pretty easy transition for me based on the experience I have from building stuff and managing the doors that I do have. Yeah, it's just about finding the money. I mean, I don't have the cash to go out and buy one myself, so that's the main hurdle right now is finding that cash, and that's all about networking. And so that's my newest big hurdle is is networking with the right people. Well, networking and I'm finding now networking with the right people as well, especially if we're trying to get into multi-million-dollar projects. Somebody that can qualify for that size mortgage and has the cash for a down payment and renovations, depending to what degree we're going to do, or if we're going to have multiple people on the one title as equity investors, and it's a different level of people management, a different type of people management rather than just managing contractors and one partner, this what I've done so far. So it's mostly it's more about dealing with more people.
Yeah.
But well, I've been that's this all everything's culminated to this point anyways, right? Based on the experience I've already had, it's all coming together, and it's not something that's intimidating me. It's something I'm excited about, and something that there's always going to be a learning curve to it. But that's what I've been doing all along is fighting my way through. Problems come up. Well, yeah, and then that's what we do. We manage people and we solve
Solve
problems.
problems.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's part one of the biggest part reasons I do it because I just love doing that. I love
Yeah.
solving the problems.
Yeah.
I love that stress. I know that sounds crazy to some people, doesn't it? You know, like I said, like being on doing community theater. Why in the world would you do that? You got to memorize 2 hours worth of lines and go up on stage and do stuff in front of people. But I don't know. I love that stress
The
of trying to
rush,
remember your
maybe.
line.
I like the rush of
Yeah, I
it.
guess it's a rush. Yeah, the rush. Sure. Yeah, it's
The
not.
building up
I
of
don't think I
something,
don't.
creating, fixing, putting a puzzle together,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah. And
then
if
it's
something doesn't go right,
beautiful.
well,
Right? Yeah.
I don't think it's a narcissistic thing. I don't think it's, well, I guess, maybe it is a little bit ego, but I don't need people to recognize me and tell me what a great job I was doing. That's not so much what feeds me to do that, any of these things. It's just that I like fighting my way through and finding solutions to problems and getting to the end.
Yeah. And I like
That's
making
just
people happy. Like
I
fixing
yeah, well, yeah,
people's
absolutely.
problems, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, I think. It is stressful to solve problems. And so I
Well,
think,
I
right,
guess it
well,
depends
it
on
can
how
be. I
you
mean,
look at
because
it. Yeah.
the problems can be have an immediacy to them quite often, and you need to know the right, if you don't have the skills yourself, you need to know the right people to do it. And you need to manage those people into position to deal with those problems. And if it's an immediate one, you need to find them and get them in there right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's all part of networking too. It's not
Yeah.
just about finding money partners. It's about um just collaborating with other
Hmm.
people that might have solutions to something that you may not know how to fix, and being able to reach out to them, and then they can reach out to you if you have a solution to a problem that they need fixed. And that
Exactly. And
it's
that's the
all.
neat thing is I find more and more that I tend to be a go-to person for people. And that sort of snuck up on me. It turns out I do actually have a lot of experience and stuff. I don't always realize how much experience I have with various things, with renovations or dealing with contractors and such. So yeah, I end up being the go-to person myself. I am on people's networks. They're not just on in my
Oh,
network.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's give and take, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
that's part of networking is being available to people to help them too.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Great advice. And again, thank you so much for joining tonight. And as I said, I do have to change my background there. We are now Millionaire Mindset Mondays. And yeah, we're transitioning more to talking about um partnerships and how they can work together. And there is a very definite mindset about that. Overcoming working with people, right?
Yeah, yeah. Communicating, and
Communication. Yeah.
yeah.
Communication is key and collaboration is key.
Mhm.
And
And
just
just kind of keeping it casual, keeping it fun. People want to have fun with everything.
absolutely.
They want to have fun, but they want to know that they're secure and safe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why I'm making real estate investing fun, easy, and profitable.
yeah.
Right?
Super fun.
Yeah, super fun. And anybody knows me knows I like to have a lot of fun and
Yeah,
laugh, and but
yeah,
still at the end of the day get the job done
yeah,
and make money for everybody, right?
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And provide some nice housing. I I want happy tenants. I want them, like, there's nothing better than getting, really great messages from them. There's nothing
Hmm.
better than when I pull up to a property and they're
Families
like,
coming in, and
"Oh,
yeah,
hey
yeah,
Jan, how's it going?" Like that's what you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I was saying, just having families come in, people want to
Yeah.
make a home there, and they I was just been dealing with a transition of new tenants coming in and saying, yeah, they can't stand where they're living now, and they don't feel like their children are safe there, and they're just looking for a safe place to be, and with a yard, and they can have a nice family time in a home, and they're so excited to come in. That's just so cool that they
Isn't
want
it?
to be in
Yeah.
my
What a
house
great feeling,
to
eh?
do
To be
that.
able
Yeah,
to provide that
yeah, very much so.
and make them happy. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. Okay, so we're gonna sign off for tonight, and thanks everybody for joining in to our new platform of talking about partnerships along with mindset. And if you would like to be guest, or you know somebody that would be interested in being a guest, shoot me a DM, comment below, or yeah, that's and we can get them on the show. On the show, where got a Calendly link. And yeah, I can't wait till next week. So again, Rod, thank you for your insight tonight. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing your
thank you so
stories.
much. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, great. Okay, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.